Hi, welcome to Games Web. My name is Mark, and in this video I'm going to take a look at Invincible, the superhero role-playing game from Free League Publishing. This is a brand new game, it's just come out. This was very kindly sent to me by the guys over at Free League Publishing, so thanks very much to Dangle and the team over there. Right, okay, so without further ado, let's jump in. Right, this is my third video about the Invincible game system. I've already covered the superhero accessories and the starter set, which I'll leave links to in the description down here somewhere. But this is the core rule book. You need the core rule book to get the most out of the starter set. You can use the starter set without the core rule book, but it only gives you the basics. This gives you everything you need to play the game. Okay, so for those who don't know, Invincible is a comic book character created by Robert Kirkman, the guy behind The Walking Dead, and he's a very, very popular character. Originally, going back, I think about 20 years now, that Kirkman's been creating comic book series such as The Walking Dead and Invincible. This is my favourite of his creations. I don't really like The Walking Dead. I find it quite boring, but this one is very, very good. So it basically follows the adventures of the superheroes on Mark Grayson's planet, which is Earth, but slightly different from our Earth, as I'll get to in a moment. Okay, so Invincible, the role-playing game, superhero role-playing game, is a superhero tabletop role-playing game based on the groundbreaking comic book Invincible by Robert Kirkman, The Walking Dead, Cory Walker and Ryan Otley. Also adapted as an animated series on Prime Video. In this action-packed storytelling experience, you and your friends take on the role of superheroes in your own corner of the Invincible universe, or any other superhero setting of your choice. You might be a wisecracking speedster, a super genius inventor, a grizzled vigilante, a shape-shifting alien, or a high-flying symbol of hope. Whatever you play and wherever you go, you will have to juggle the relationships with patrols, face through challenges and choices, and learn how to use your powers and learn more about yourself in the process. Who knows, you might be invincible. Key features: your superhero. Instructions for how to create your own unique hero at a power level from scratch or using pre-made archetypes to dive into the action quickly. Powers and talents: over 70 unique superpowers and dozens of boost talents and drawbacks. Action and combat: fast and brutal rules for fast-paced action superhero powered combat, gruesome damage and deadly challenges. The Invincible universe, which gives you a guide to the comic book universe, including key locations and organisations, campaign tools for the games master to help set up campaigns and events and encounters, dramatis persona, illustrated descriptions of over 60 key characters from the Invincible universe, and crisis mode, play Invincible superhero game on your own without the need for a games master. So in other words, solo roleplay. Really, really is a good looking book. It really is. I've got a full in-depth review already on, I say already, it's almost completely finished to go up onto Games Web, which goes into the entire background mechanics and everything in the game. So let's jump in. Now, as I said, this is created by Robert Kirkman, who's the guy behind The Walking Dead, and he really did flesh out a great universe. I only got into Invincible a few years ago, just before the TV series started. I got gifted the first omnibus and I really enjoyed it. So I ended up buying all the 158 issues or something like that and in downloadable PDFs, and I really enjoyed it. Right, okay, so we have our the creators of Invincible, Robert Kirkman, Cory Walker and Ryan Otley, and then the games designers who've worked on this and lead artists. All the artwork in this is artwork by the actual creators themselves. So we have a various number of chapters. We've got chapter 1, your superhero. Then you might be invincible is chapter 1. Chapter 2 is your own superhero. Powers and talents, actions and combats. Or combat, the Invincible universe, run of the game, campaign play, dramatis persona, and crisis mode. So as I said, crisis mode is the solo mode for the game. So you might be invincible. Roughly speaking, the Invincible story revolves around Mark Grayson, who is invincible. This character here, he starts off as a young teenager. He's just about to go to college. He's just left high school. He's just about to go to college, and his superpowers kick in. His dad is the world's strongest superhero, known as Omni-Man, and Omni-Man's got a bit of a hidden agenda, which, as you read further into the comics or watch the anime, you'll discover that he's not exactly who he says he is. He's actually sent to Earth to conquer Earth for his people, the Viltrumites. Mark is half Viltrumite. As he's getting older and his powers kick in, his Viltrumite DNA starts kicking in, and that's when he starts getting his abilities. So he can fly very, very fast. He's very strong. He's almost indestructible. I say almost because he always gets beaten up, even by lowly powered people tend to beat him up. But the entire thing is grand and epic. So once Mark becomes invincible, he develops relationships with various superheroes and superhero teams, and one of the a government organisation that polices superheroes and supervillains on the planet, and it goes from there. But it's a lot more in depth than I'm just explaining. So basically, you could be invincible. This gives a bit of background on how the game plays, why you would take the game. So we've got adventures and campaigns. So you can have an adventure which is a one-off, or you can have a campaign which is a series, like a comic book series. So in the case of Invincible, Mark starts off as just basically your average kid who's wanting to go to college, your Peter Parker type. He wants to go to college. He's just an average student. He's not like Peter Parker, who is a like gifted individual. He is just a normal guy with superpowers. So we go along the You've got scenes, which basically you have a briefing, which you find out what's happening. You have an action scene, which speaks for itself. It's an action scene, and then you have social scenes, which are things like this would be classed as a social scene because this is Mark and his girlfriend about to get it on, but something's going to interrupt, or he just realises he's got his invincible outfit on underneath his clothing, and she doesn't know he's invincible. That kind of thing. So we've got the Flaxons here. They're an alien race. Got the themes here. You've got coming of age, growing up is part of life for every superhero, even for a superhero. A key aspect of the journey is conflict, how you face life's toughest challenges and grow from them. Invincible stands out by avoiding the endless retconning common in many comics. The story follows Mark from his youngest years right through his journey to becoming a man that he will become, and the progression is reflected in the game. Everyday struggles and epic struggles, bloody high-stakes action, hero-villain dynamic. Sometimes a common theme in superhero games and superhero movies and comic books is sometimes if you're a hero, you might end up becoming a villain. Or if you're a villain, you might end up becoming a hero. There's a very thin line between them. Sometimes heroes have morally questionable judgment ways. So, like the Punisher, Frank Castle, he is a hero, but he's not a hero. He's a vigilante. So he could be classed as an anti-hero or a vigilante. Same with Venom, because both of them kill people, but they kill people for a reason, which, when all's said and done, is really bad. But anyway, and then we've got power and responsibility. As in Spider-Man, with great power comes great responsibility. It's how you use that power and how you use that responsibility. We've got safety tools here. This is quite important. Invincible superhero role-playing game presents a dangerous universe with graphic violence and situations that cause issues related to personal morality. That said, this is still a game and no players should be forced to deal with the topics that they find distressing in real life or that make them feel safe at the table. To make sure everyone is having fun and feeling safe, we recommend that you have safety tools in play before and after the game. Examples of safety tools are pre-game discussions about the lines and veils for the characters and the subjects they want to play. Avoid in and keep off screen safety cards to be shown during play by players who indicate that they are feeling uncomfortable. So basically, because the game deals with very graphic things, such as killing people and what have you, this is quite a powerful thing to have, and it's something that people should take more note of. For instance, if you like The Boys by Garth Ennis, in The Boys there's lots and lots of scenes of babies getting killed and people leveling buildings with people inside them just because they want to, people running through people, sexual assault, that kind of thing. They're all prevalent through The Boys, and things like Crossed, which is another Garth Ennis comic, which is really, really graphic. If you're uncomfortable with that kind of thing, having safeguards in place is brilliant. Tools of the game, so you need a character sheet, your dice, the cards. You don't need the cards, but they're a handy thing to have. I've got mine knocking about somewhere. They give you initiative, they give you powers, they're quite good. So the book is broken down into your superhero, your talents and powers, actions and combat, the universe itself, running the game, the campaign play, and then the characters. And then, as it says here, the starter set, which I've already covered in a previous video, which is very good actually. It's really worth picking up. So your superhero. So this is, you can pre-generate your superhero, or you can use one of the original heroes, as in you could play Invincible. Now, as with all superhero games based on an IP, it's quite... it's hard to put into words, but there's so many people say, if you play the DC Universe game, you want to play Batman or you want to play Superman. You don't want to play Aquaman, or you don't want to play Mr. Mixplex. You want to play the big guys. You want to, you want to play those guys, and you can't have 6 people around the table, all wanting to play Superman or all wanting to play Batman. It's not just going to work. So you can generate your own characters. Now, there is a problem when you're actually playing someone like Superman or Batman that, well, there's a couple of problems really, but one of the big problems if you're playing a superhero like Superman is Superman is a Swiss Army knife. He has got a tool for every eventuality. Batman is the same. In fact, there's actually there was a term coined in the 1980s called the Batman phenomenon in superhero games, or action games, where if you're playing Batman, everybody else might as well just go home because you know everything. You're the world's greatest detective. You can solve every crime. You can, given enough preparation, you can take on gods with Batman as a character. But that said, if you're playing as Batman, you're only as smart as yourself. You're not as smart as the character's written. And we do find this sometimes in superhero movies and TV programs. The Boys is... I know I keep on going back about this, but The Boys is quite notorious for this. They have the world's smartest person, which is Sage. But the people who actually wrote Sage didn't write her right. She just comes up with these ideas and they're all really, really dumb. Even though she's meant to be the world's smartest person, it's because the writers just said she's super, super smart, and they wrote themselves into a corner. Anyway, so you can play as a pre-gen character, like any of the Invincible characters. So here we've got Duplicate, Rexplode, Invincible, Atom Eve, and Robot. They're just the founding members, well, not the founding members, the members of the team, and then they go on to become the members of the Guardians of the Globe, with the exception of Invincible. He's not a member of any of them at the beginning. So you can create your own hero. So you determine your rank, your archetype and role, your starting attributes, your health and resolve. Health and resolve are quite important in the game. Determine your starting powers. Determine your power score. Are you really, really good at flying super fast, or are you just learning your powers? And you can buy additional heroes, talents, and take drawbacks. So a drawback and a talent allows you to do things that you normally can't do, and a drawback is basically a drawback. So you might have, say, Rexplode here. One of his drawbacks, without actually going too much in detail, is overconfidence. He's overconfident in himself. Same with Robot. Robot could have a drawback such as crippled, because the character is actually crippled. But we'll get onto that in a little bit. So a little bit more there about changing your own superhero up. And we have the hero rank. So are you a lowly upstart? Are you just starting up, or are you a cosmic champion? Do you ride around on a space bike, going from planet to planet and saving galaxies and things like that? Then we have our archetypes. There's a few different archetypes. So we have Blaster, Brains, Brawn, Controller, Defender, Leader, Striker, Wildcard. So an example of normal characters: Blaster would be someone like, let's say, Iron Man. Could be a Blaster. But then again, Iron Man could fit into the Brains, because he's very intelligent. You've got Brawn, which is someone like the Hulk, use physical force and deliver damage. Controller, someone like Professor X, you're a master of hindering enemies, assisting allies and managing the battlefield. A Defender, protector that safeguard other allies, like Doctor Strange. A Leader, again, Iron Man, Captain America, things like that. Striker, your relentless force in a close combat, again, Captain America. Wildcard, you're adaptable and unpredictable, overcoming challenges with your versatility. That could very easily be Batman. Okay, so then we got attributes. The game uses a set of attributes here. So we have 6 physical attributes. We have fighting, agility, strength, reason, intuition, and presence. Right, so fighting is hand-to-hand combat. Agility is coordination, speed, mobility, fine motor skills, doing things on the fly, so which handle things like disarming a bomb. I would imagine be an ability thing, or it could be intuition. Strength, which is your physical strength. Reason is intelligence, comprehension, knowledge, and mental stability. Intuition is instinct, sensory perception, wisdom, and empathy. So I would say that if you're creating a character without Invincible, the good example of that would be someone with a high intuition and a high agility and high fighting would be Spider-Man. Likewise, in this game, someone with fighting and agility probably be Invincible. Right, okay, so your attributes are used when you roll dice to perform actions in the game, as well as for determining how much damage and stress you can withstand. Slugfest is your base damage for your Slugfest attacks when you're punching people. It's equal to your strength score halved and then rounded up. So if you've got a strength of 5 and you hit somebody, you're going to do 2 points of damage and then round 2.5 points of damage or whatever. So you have to forgive me with my throat. I've got bronchiectasis and talking hurts. Okay, so we've got starting attributes. You can start off at 1 and go up to 12. So 1 is poor, 12 is invincible. The lower the number, the poorer the character. And then the higher the number, the harder the character is. Another spread here with some of the characters. I think that's Brock. Not sure. I think so. Right. Then we have the powers themselves, starting powers, your power source, where'd you get your powers from? Do you have multiple powers? Do you not have any powers? You could not have any powers like Batman. Batman doesn't have any powers. Starting talents and drawbacks, as I explained earlier. And then we have your occupation here. So you could be an academic, an adventurer, an artist, an athlete, a blue-collar worker, celebrity, criminal devotee, expert, first responder, investigator, law enforcer, medic, outsider, privileged, public servant, where are we? A scientist, secret agent, soldier, student, technician, white collar. Now, I couldn't see teacher there. I think teacher might come under public servant. I don't know. Okay, there was a page from the comic book itself. Personal stuff, your personality, your drive, what drives you as a person, what motivates you, any flaws you may have, like overconfidence, or you could be the best superhero in the world, but you're terminally shy. Your name for your character, your appearance, what you look like, key relationships. Who are your relationships? If you're playing the game solo, this is quite important, so you develop who your relationships are with your NPCs. If you're playing it with a group of friends, often your friends are going to be part of a team. You're going to team up and they'll become your relationships. I'm not talking about physical or sexual relationships. I'm talking about friendships or rivalries and that kind of stuff. So you can develop things from your relationship. So we've got a chart here that says they disagree with you strongly about something, right up to they've done something villainous in the past. Gear resources, your starting gear, what you start off with, how much you can carry, your resources, are you destitute or are you opulent? Which is, like, are you funded by someone? Are you part of a team? Do you have a base? Is your base like the mansion in the X-Men, where you've got your own danger room, so you can practice in your room, and it gets blown up every other week, but it's miraculously fixed the week after? Or like the Batcave, do you have a Bat computer that can keep track on crime analytics across the planet, and you know everything at a moment's notice? Or the Justice League satellite, or the Boys Vault Tower, things like that. But in this universe, we have several teams who have bases. The team start off in, I think it's Brooklyn Bridge, in an interior part of Brooklyn Bridge, because it's set in New York, like many superhero games and comics and books and films are set around New York, because predominantly for the best part of half a century, New York was the place where all the publishers were. So you had Marvel and DC based in New York. I think it was like 666 Street or something like that, in New York. Okay, so your team name, what's your team going to be called? Your hero's growth. So you got karma and bad karma. Karma's doing things like rescuing people, dissolving an argument with other people can give you karma. There's quite a few things, but you get bad karma for things like letting someone get hurt or die, or not really going to try and do your best, and someone suffers for it, give you bad karma. negative karma can really affect you in the game because it can give you more flaws and it can turn people's public opinion against you. Okay, and then we've got reputation as well, which goes with karma. So archetypes, so we've got the beacon and the bruiser. Okay, so we have this guy's a leader, he's a brawler, or brawn. Then we've got the gadgeteer, the icon, the mastermind, the metamorph, the monster, Nova, the power suit, the psychic, the shaper, the sharpshooter, the speedster, the vigilante, and finally the warrior and the wisecracker. Now those are just archetypes that they've put in. I'm sure that there will be more archetypes along the way over the next couple of months and the next couple of years as more archetypes come into play. Nothing stopping you from expanding it and making your own archetypes. Quite easy. I think there's actually rules for creating your own archetypes as well. So powers and talents. This is quite a thick chapter. This is basically anything can be classed as a talent or a power if you use it in the correct way, I should imagine. So you've got here hurling a taxi cab across a city block, soaring high above the skyscrapers, reading someone's innermost thoughts, transforming into a sprinting cheetah, harnessing the primal forces of the universe. The invincible, spectacular powers like these are what make superheroes super. Of course, powers. We watch superhero movies and cartoons and read comic books as a form of escapism, but it's a little bit more than that. About 2,500 years ago, we had superheroes, but they weren't. We didn't watch them on movies. We had them in the form of myths and legends. So like Hercules, Jason, Perseus, Andromeda, Zeus, and then the Norse ones. Mythology tends to go in secular things, and the superheroes are our new myths and legends. At least that's my own take on it. So you got powers. You got power levels will go from 1 up to 12. 1 being the lowest, 12 being the highest. So you have quick example here. As a general rule, you don't need to roll dice to use a superpower unless clearly stated or otherwise, like make an attack with blast. You don't need to use a dice to be able to fly when using flight or to change shape using shapeshifting. So basically, you only come to use the actual roll for your powers when you really need to use them. So if you're actually making an opposed roll or a roll against someone else. We have power cards, which are in the power card box, which if I can grab it, because it's just out of reach, which it would be. So the power card box is this here, and this, when you open up and look inside it, although I've already shown this, but I'll quickly show you now, contains powers. So we've got guidance here, which is the first one I've come across. As a full action, you may make a presence roll. For each success you roll, you can inspire one other hero that you can communicate with to immediately take a bonus action or a full quick action. And there's lots of things like gravity control, fire control. So there are a lot of superpowers in this game. In fact, I think this is probably got the most superpowers I've seen since Champions. I don't think I've seen a game with as many superpowers. I could be wrong, but I've got a good collection of superhero games with Champions, which often comes up as one of the best role-playing games of all time. And then I don't like to use overly complex power systems in games. I like to prefer something like Brave New World by my friend Matt Forbeck, which is where you only have one main superpower. Occasionally you might have a minor power, but mostly it's one power. And then Golden Heroes by Mark Gascoigne, which is like amazing. That's one of my favourite games of all time. And then you've got the power source. Where do you get your power from? You get it from an artifact. Is it a natural born skill? Is it a mystical thing? Were you possessed by a demon? Things like that. And then there's even more powers list. So here we have the attack powers. So they're broken down into different types. So you've got affliction, blast, distress, emanation, snare, strike, stun. Control powers. Not going to go through all of them. There's a lot of control powers, a heck of a lot of control powers. Defensive powers, modification powers, movement powers, sensory powers. So you've got things like precognition and talents. So we've got lots of different talents. I'll just pick one at random. You've got Sharp Tongue. You gain +2 dice to presence rolls when you using an action banter. So you can, I'd say Rexplode would have something like this because he's Sharp Tongue. Streetwise, which is you get +2 presence when trying to find information about the activities in shadier parts of town. So that's like, say, Nightwing in DC, you have that. Drawbacks, again, like vulnerable. You have a specific weakness to something that harms you, defined when you select this drawback. When you're subject to this source, the damage inflicted is double, and any armor rating has no effect. So here we see Cecil Steedman, who's an on-off ally with Mark. He's actually using a sonic weapon on Mark there, which he has as a backup in case his dad ever went rogue. Action and combat tells you how to actually do things, so how you roll the dice and things like that. Stunts. For every success you get, you can achieve a bonus success. So you roll your dice, and when you roll your dice, if you get any ones at all, the ones are successes, and you put those to one side. And when you put them, I'll just get the dice out. Sorry, the sixes are successes, not the ones. Forgive me. Right. So, if you look at the dice here, we've got a 1, which is the failure, which is the only man symbol. And then on the other side, we've got the 6, which is the invincible symbol. If you get 4 6s, that's 4 successes. And for every success you get, you can do a stunt with it, or you can save them, and they can cancel those out at a later time, as far as I'm aware. It's the mechanic that they use in most of the Free League games. And it works here just as well as it works in Alien or Blade Runner or Twilight 2000 or Walking Dead, which are all other games from Free League Publishing. And I've covered all of those games with. So you roll the dice, it tells you when to roll. Normally you only roll when you're told to, or if the adventure tells you that you need to roll a die. And it will tell you what dice, when to roll and what to use. Invincible, they're fighting against Dinosaurus, who's like one of the best characters in the history of comic books. I really love that guy. Maps and zones, right? So much like in the Alien Combat Evolved, Evolved Edition, which is the 2nd edition of the Alien role-playing game, you can use miniatures with this game. In fact, the starter set comes with a set of card standees and a map. Everything's broken down into zones. You don't have to use a map because it's a role-playing game. You don't need to use a map. But this gives you information on how to use your maps and how to use standees and tokens and miniatures and what have you. Whether or not they're actually going to be releasing miniatures for Invincible, I don't know. They've released miniatures for Alien Evolved, which I'm waiting for to come so I can review them. But I don't know if they're going to come out for this. I really do hope so, because I love painting superhero models. Right, so how to do your actions. So you've got full actions and quick actions. A quick action can be something like, let's say, moving, opening a door. You can do interrupt actions, so you can interrupt NPCs, or you can interrupt the bad guys, or what have you, or interrupt other characters occasionally. Surprise attacks, holding off, drawing for initiative. If you get the players at the start set, it comes with initiative cards, which are these. So basically, if you've got the lower the number, the order you act first. So if you get a 1, you're going to go first. If you get a 7, you're going to go after 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Movement, how far you can move. It depends on your abilities. Obviously, if you have got, say, super strength or super speed, you can move super fast. If you're lumbering or Hulk, like the Hulk, you might not be able to move very fast. Slugfest is fighting and the damage that you conflict on other people. And then we've got wrecking buildings and zones, so you can destroy the maps. One of the big things in Invincible quite early on is just after his powers awaken, Mark has a fight with his dad, and they level part of Chicago and kill thousands of people by fighting. And if you watch I think it's like the last episode of season 1 of Invincible over on Amazon, I'll leave a link in the description to where you can get the comics, and also where you can get to the Amazon Prime videos. There's a very, very, very graphic fight scene in Chicago, and you'll never want to get on a subway train again when you watch it, especially in Chicago. Right, so weapons, do your weapons actually do damage against people who've got invincible skin? As I said earlier on, taking damage, this guy's a superhero, but as you can see, he's covered in blood, which kind of happens almost on a regular basis to Invincible, until he gets much, much older in the comics and the storylines. So minions, people who do your things for you. I'd say the Fluxions have minions. There's like hundreds and hundreds of them. Challenges, let's have a look. Running challenges, objectives, overcoming challenges, burning building. The building is engulfed in flames. Challenge rating 6, time limit special. What are you going to do? Can you fight flames? Are you going to run in and save the people, or what have you? Complex investigation, extreme weather, doomsday device. All these kind of things are set to try, hazards that will try your things, like he's got a bomb. It's going to cause an explosion. Okay, vehicles, other gear. Chases are very prevalent in superhero games. And likewise in Invincible, we have chases. Chases can be as mundane as flying through the city, chasing after a villain, or trying to track down bank robbers or what have you. Or you could be up in space, fighting as battle beast against Viltrumites who are coming to destroy a planet, and you're trying to stop them, and you're chasing them to hunt them down. Okay, so this is the thing that's one of the best parts of the book. This gives you the guide to the universe. Now, it's not complete, because Invincible spans about, I think it's 159 issues or something like that, and went on for about 15 years. But does follow Mark Grayson from being a teenager right up to him being an adult in the future, quite a way in the future, in fact. So this is gives you all the background. It also gives you lots of settings on locations and stuff. So your characters, like here we have Immortal fighting against Alan the Alien. The planet is Earth. Now, Earth in the Invincible universe is slightly different from our Earth. It's still Earth. We still have one moon, They still have America and Russia and Great Britain and all the other countries, but things are slightly different. So instead of things like what's it called? Slight little obvious not things that you see. I think that 9/11 never happened on this planet. There's a couple of other things that are like very, very similar to ours. They have jet cars and hover assisted craft that look like they can, this defy gravity. We have reanimated corpses that fight for the good guys as well as against the good guys and stuff like that. Then we've got Space and Beyond. We've got Mars, Thakra, Viltrum, and then other planets such as Telescura, Onapia, different dimensions, other realms. The Global Defence Agency, which is run by Cecil Steedman and his sidekick aide-de-camp Donald. Now, Cecil is a very, 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 very bad character. And I don't mean bad as in he's drawn badly. He is not a nice person, but he's not a nice person for a reason. And as we get to know him, we understand why he's so bad and why he's hell-bent on keeping Earth protected. This is something I've always loved in Invincible. I love it in the cartoon, loved it in the comic books. Parking in Rio at the Pentagon, because that's the headquarters for the GDA. Then we've got Teen Team, which is the team that Atom Eve and Rex Blood and all those guys are on. Guardians of the Globe, which is their equivalent of the Avengers or Justice League. Teen Team is like Teen Titans. Atlanteans, Lizard League, they're bad guys. The Atlanteans are live basically under the ocean, so like Namor or Aquaman. The Order, and then the Viltrum Empire, which is the main bad guys in the game, the comics and everything. Coalition of Planets, which is set up to deal with the threat from the Viltrumites and other races. Other notable organisations, so we've got Capes Incorporated, we've got the Auctioneers, we've got Wolf Corps and the Crash. There are just a few of them, and then running the game. So this is the bits where, if you're a games master, this is your bread and butter. This is what you need. Tells you how to get the best out of everything, how to make things come to life, how to play cinematically. Right, so unlike Alien, Evolved, or Blade Runner, or Walking Dead, where there's two ways of playing. You've got a regular campaign way and you've got a cinematic way of playing. I think this game plays best if you just play it as a cinematic game, because that's the way we read comic books. We read them like a movie, and I think it works brilliantly. So we've got campaigns here, as just mentioned, adventures, which are one-offs, non-player characters, so how you create your NPCs, handling the NPCs, and then we've got profiles here for various ones. Quite a lot of NPCs. Zombies. Campaign play. So you got team up starts. So these are your ranks. Street Defender up to Cosmic Champion. So Cosmic Champion would be somebody like Space Rider. The guy on the bike, he's got a gun that can shoot through planets. In fact, he never stops, he just keeps on going every time he shoots it, which is quite a powerful weapon that can destroy entire planets. And that's a pistol. So we've got story arcs with hooks and multiple arcs, and you can weave all these in together. Corporate interest, desperate rescue, diplomatic relations, dimensional crisis. All these things just cover the vast majority of comic books, not just Invincible, but all comic books in Invincible. So here we've got an example, which is the story arc breakdown of the Invincible War, which started in Invincible issue 60. So after Burley surviving his brutal confrontation with Mark Grayson, Angstrom Levy opened a portal to other dimensions and got 16 of the Invincibles from those universes and brought them to Earth to fight against Earth's Invincible. And it became known as the Invincible War. I think it's only about 4 issues long, but it's really, really good. And when you see it in the cartoon, it's amazing. Fractured timelines, harrowing escape. So a fractured timeline, an example of that is Robot and Monster Girl. They have a fractured timeline. Harrowing escape, interstellar conflict, which is like the Viltrum War. Invasion Force, which is like the Flaxans. I like the Flaxans, they're cool. Legal trouble, are you going to be sued? Reveal secret world. Doc Seismic is quite cool. I like Doc Seismic. I do like the fact they have these breakdowns here. So this is like Invincible 10 to 13 about Doc Seismic. So it tells you where to find things. Uncovered mystery, unlikely ally, villain's revenge, unnatural phenomena. These things keep on going. They've got random threats or criminal activity, somebody robbing a bank, or street thugs, or is it a supervillain, or is it a mercenary? Then we've got here like there's a percentile, D66 crime going on here. So let's just quickly generate a crime using my handy dandy dice. So we get 11. We've got a mugging in progress. Or we could go again. There's 55. These are rolling doubles. 55 is a vehicle chase. And finally, 61 is an arms deal. Just basic things like that. These dice are used for everything. You don't use any other dice apart from the D6s. You don't have to have the Invincible dice. You can use any D6s, but it's nice to have those. And then we've got where are we? City incidents. We've got cosmic incidents. We've got global dangers. Cosmic perils. Then you develop your team, developing your base upgrades. Does your base come with like a training room or things like that? Your city that you're playing in, using key locations. See, choosing a real-world location as a central city of your campaign has several advantages, mainly familiarity. So if you live in Seattle in the States, choose Seattle, which is a really good idea. I live in Edinburgh in Scotland. We've got a lot of places in Edinburgh. It's a very historic city and it's a very old city, but we've got a lot of places in Edinburgh that could house superheroes. I mean, you could house them in the castle because the castle's a fortified place. Things like that. I used to live in Manchester. Manchester's ideal because there's so many modern buildings you could use Manchester for. If you live in New York, obviously, New York's a good place. Or if you live in Africa, live in, say, South Africa, you could choose somewhere like Johannesburg or Pretoria or something like that. They tie up to you. Then we've got Dramatis Persona. These are the actual characters who make up Invincible Universe. So we have Alan the Alien, Angstrom Levy, good guy, bad guy. Arissa, bad guy, good guy, sort of. Aquas, I don't know really because we didn't get much chance to see him because he dies quite early on. Atom Eve, she's like one of the heroes of the thing. Battle Beast, he's a bad guy, Pluto, good guy. Best Tiger, Black Samson. Bolt, Brit. Bulletproof, Cecil Seedman, who we've gone about. Bulletproof is a really good character. Bulletproof actually at one point becomes invincible when Mark goes off to do something and he's left on Earth, there's no Invincible, so he basically takes the role of Invincible because he's got a very similar power set. Clairvoyant, Conquest, who's a real bad guy. D.S. Sinclair, who's a bad guy. Damien Darkblood, who's a demon investigator. Darkwing 2, who are Batman parodies. Dinosaurus, who is one of my favourite characters. Doc Seismic. Donald Ferguson, who is Cecil's right-hand man and has a bit of a secret. Duplicate, she can split herself into various variants. She can split herself like multiple mans. She can appear as like, I think it's up to 11 versions of herself. Furnace, the elephant. Green Ghost, Iguana, the Immortal, Invincible himself. So look at Invincible here. I think this is fairly early on in his career. So yeah, because he's a student. Where are we? So his powers, he's got Viltrumite hybrid physiology, which makes him invulnerable. It possesses superpowers common to all Viltrumites, including superhuman might, speed, stamina, and the ability to fly, and extremely decelerative aging. So he's got major flight, life support, major protection, and quickness. And his talents are determined, durable, indomitable, and lucky break. And his known drawbacks are targeted by the Viltrum Empire. Isotope, Kid Omni-Man, who is Mark's half-brother, Oliver. Kid Thor, Kill Cannon, Kinetic, King Lizard, part of Lizard League. Knockout, Komodo Dragon, part of Lizard League. Quite a lot of Lizard League here. Craig, who is a really nasty Viltrumite and a thorn in the side of everybody. Kursk, Machine Head, who's another good character. Magnetic, Magnetak, Martian Man, who's a parody of Martian Manhunter. The Mauler Twins, they're very good characters. Then we've got Mecha Maid, Mr. Lou, who is a little bit like Madame Go in Daredevil, but with powers. And then you've got Monster Girl, who is a very tragic character. She was cursed, and every time she uses her superpowers, when she reverts from this big Hulk-like creature, when she reverts back to normal, she slowly starts to de-age. So she appears to have a body of like an 11, 12-year-old girl, but she's really in her 20s or something like that. And she's entangled with a couple of the other characters. So Multipole is the brother of Duplicate. He's got the same power set. Octobos, an aquatic worm. Then Omni-Man, who's Mark Grayson's dad, Nolan. He's a really, really good character, very complex from the way of writing a character, which, as I mentioned earlier on, brings in a lot of melodrama because he's got a very complex backstory, which is really, really good. Powerplex, Reanimen, which are reanimated corpses. We do get reanimated Viltrumites as well. Red Rush, Rexplode, and Robot. Rexplode's one of my favourite characters, and so's Robot. Salamander, Shapesmith, is a shapeshifter. Shrinking Ray, who in the cartoons changed gender, is not male, is female. Tech Jacket, again, in the cartoons changed gender, instead of being male, it's female. Tyrant and Thrag. Thrag is the ultimate bad guy in the game and the TV series and everything, because he's the leader of the Viltrumites. And he is so hard. I mean, if you just look at his damage, he does 10 damage. It's got fighting at 11, ability at 10, strength at 12, reason at 7, intuition at 6, and presence at 10. This guy's like phenomenally good. So he rolls, when you roll the dice, he rolls 10 dice for a presence check. And Titan, who's another good character, he's a little bit like a cross between Kingpin and Tombstone, he's like their analogy of Tombstone. Universa, who's a character from another dimension. War Woman, Wolfman, and then we have here an appendix, which is Crisis Mode, which is playing the game solo. Gives you rules on how to play the game solo. And we've got lots of different things going on, so how you can do your solo encounters, timers, all that kind of stuff. See solo friend, what have you done? Oh dear. And then special solo scenes, and then we have our character sheet and an index. Now, I know this is quite a lengthy video, but I'm very, very pleased with this game. It looks brilliant, and I can't wait to actually get stuck in. I've got ideas for a campaign that I'm going to hopefully write up and get done as soon as possible. Whether I do or not is a different matter, because I've got so many things going on in my life at the moment. My health's not been very good. But that's my quick look at the Invincible superhero role-playing game from the guys over at Free League Publishing. My many, many, many thanks go to Free League for all the support over the past few years. They've been invaluable in helping keep Gamers Web going, and much appreciated, guys. And many thanks to Daniel for sending this out to review. Right, I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you for bearing with me, and I hope you've made it to the end of the video. As I said, this game's set in the Invincible universe, and I would strongly urge you to play the game as Invincible, as in the Invincible universe. But there is no stopping you from actually using this as a generic superhero role-playing game at all. It's a good system. It's a tried system. It's been around for quite a while, and it's one that I highly recommend. So all it remains for me to say is I've been Mark. Thank you for tuning in, and no matter where you are in the world, folks, please stay safe, look after yourselves, and we'll hope to see you again here soon. And you never know, you could be invincible.